Good morning everyone, and today we're checking out a brand new video from Josh Scorcher, the first of his Kirby Month videos, Top 10 Kirby Bosses. Let's hop in and check it out. Like I wonder, is he gonna go with classic bosses like Wispy Woods and Crackle? Or is he going with the unique bosses that each have their own game and all that?
This month, we're paying tribute to the deceptively adorable gumball with an appetite for destruction. And pretty much anything within reach. And what better way to kick things off than with bosses? When it comes to enemies, Kirby's are usually one of the highlights of their respective games. They can either be just as colorful as our titular blob, or...
Oh yes, 02.
the stuff of actual nightmares. Kind of like Kirby himself if you think about it too hard. And I know you will. I know my audience.
I've watched the video. I know the story. Kirby is an entity of pure chaos,
the
born of
master
joy.
manipulator, one who possesses the dark ability to misdirect, deceive, and make the most dangerous, diabolical objects appear out of thin air. They are...
What? Magician?
Pumpkin what? Squashini is the boss fight at the end of the treatment.
Oh, okay, so we are going with the unique bosses. And we're starting off first with a boss from Kirby's Epic Yarn, Squashini, the Magic Pumpkin.
Segment in Kirby's Epic Yarn. As far as Epic Yarn bosses go, Squashini has the unique gimmick of stringing along a slot machine to dictate his attacks. Get it? Magician? Slot machine? Vegas? I don't know.
I was going to just say casino.
The first of these is 3 hats, where you have to play the shell game to find which hat he's hiding under. Then you have 3 cards, in which you'll start dealing cards like they're ninja stars. Finally, there's 3 capes, where Squashini will turn his wand into a cape that throws bombs at you. And like most magicians, Squashini is a master of misdirection, and occasionally his slot machine will land on 3 ropes. He'll close the curtain and it reopens on Kirby tied up to a giant bomb that you gotta wriggle out from. Squashini's boss fight is very creative on how well it uses the Vegas aesthetic. It's not every day that one tries to kill you with cards in a way that doesn't involve dying of embarrassment when it's revealed that you bet 10,000 on a pair of 2s.
Son of a bitch!
However, I can't put this boss any higher since it is an Epic Yarn boss, so others on the list arguably pose a bigger threat. That said, I only felt it was appropriate to give Squashini from Kirby's Epic Yarn a comfy spot at number 10. And that's what I get for hiring co-writers. Oh well, you reap what you sow. Oh, mother!
Oh, puns! Well, we move on from the Yarn of 10 to number 9.
In Kirby Superstar's Great Cave Offensive, you face off against a variety of bosses in your search
Oh
for
yes,
treasure.
I remember this game.
None are more memorable than the...
No, he didn't crash. That's how that boss fight works. And I remember that boss also very fondly. I actually enjoyed it.
Well, I can't edit anymore. I just got a computer virus.
I'll get you, and I'll look like a bloody accident.
The fight takes the form of a pseudo-turn-based RPG, complete with enemy turns and damage numbers. Each of the enemies consists of classic fantasy monsters. You got your slime, wizards, dragons, and... puppets?
Yeah,
that's
puppets.
It even shows up later in Milky Way Wishes with new, stronger enemies to fight. And like any good RPGs, you get rewarded with completely pointless EXP.
You'll love.
Of course, once you get past the set dressing, the fight isn't anything special. It's just a typical Kirby boss with a fun gimmick. But hey, it's a really fun gimmick. Enough to earn it a spot.
I literally
enjoyed it. The 2 Nichols
joke
of the list goes to this and the other jumps in Super Paper Mario.
Alright, well we move from the Virus of 9 to number 8 with...
When it comes to bosses in Kirby 64, the often lauded best is 02. And because I haven't painted enough targets on my back yet, I'll just go ahead and say it. I don't really think it's all that great.
Say what?
Did he just say, he did?
Don't get me wrong, in terms of atmosphere and build-up, it's perfect. But the actual fight is just kinda... you just rotate the control stick and press A. I'd argue Miracle...
He isn't wrong. It is that easy. But Miracle Heal, as he's about to say, is actually more of a challenging one. The only way to damage it is to use the copy abilities it uses. You literally have to mirror it.
Matter is more effective at being a final boss. This is because it takes a far different approach than most other bosses in the series. You can't just slap on your favorite copy ability and then tear it apart. Each of its attacks represents a different copy ability of yours, and in order to attack it, you must inhale its own projectiles and then use those abilities to fight it. Try otherwise, and it's just not gonna do any damage. Not less damage, no damage. It's a good battle that feels like a proper final test of all the abilities you've used throughout the story. Of course, if you're used to fighting bosses without abilities, this would also feel right at home for you. And yes, I do consider it to be a better climax than Zero 2. Or you're like the several kids who never got every crystal shard, effectively making Miracle Matter the actual final boss, which, you know, is cool too. If you can overlook the queen possibly killing Ribbon at the end.
Well, moving on from the Miracle Mirror, we move to number 7 with...
I make art until someone dies.
Canvas Curse had a unique movement system.
Canvas Curse. Yeah, I never played this one.
Where rather than controlling Kirby, the player used the stylus to make a path for him to move across levels. It's a really neat mechanic. And helpful, considering our main baddie basically amputates our blob boy!
Oh!
Okay, so there's more to it than that. Dracia, the game's main villain, is an insane megalomaniacal witch born from a painting, who turns the world into her own twisted canvas to make it her newest masterpiece. Kirby stands up to her, and gets turned into a ball.
Nope.
Like, even more of a ball. Being the orchestrator of this dreaded art project, Dracia has been painting the other bosses in the game, including our other boy DDD, to slow us down. But in the final leg of the game, she's got no more doodles to hide behind, so we're taking her down one-on-one. The Wicked Witch of the Arts hovers menacingly above the battlefield, swooping down or firing electric balls at you, and occasionally summoning reinforcements with her paints. You draw an escape path to dodge her, tap the projectiles back at her, and then dash through her when she's finally down. Oh, hey, that wasn't so bad. Usually Kirby final bosses are a lot scarier than...
And Soul.
Knew it was coming. Took the bait anyway. So, after we basically murdered Dracia, her soul takes over the fight as an eldritch abomination, and I'll be danged if that isn't some brilliantly freaky imagery and sound design. Unlike her
How many Kirby games end up with Kirby having to kill the soul of some entity?
My corporeal form, the soul relies more on physical attacks than magic, bouncing back and forth across the zone, tossing colored blades and clutter at you, and bring out a few monstrous eyeballs called paramatters to sick them on Kirby. She puts you more through the ringer than when she was alive, but dodge, tap, and stun her enough times and she'll be forced back into her painting where she can't hurt anyone anymore.
Sorry.
Thank God.
That one.
I think Canvas Curse did pretty well for the franchise's maiden voyage to the DS, mostly thanks to Dracia. They shift from a kind of cute maniacal gremlin to, I think, like the 10th horrifying floating head in this franchise is kind of brilliant, and the obsession with dominating over art is a neat twist. Plus, I really appreciate how the fight tests your ability with the touchscreen gameplay. Kinda makes me wish the DS stood the test of time.
A shame. But we move from the painted canvas to number 6. With... Oh, of course, it's you.
Galactonite, an ancient hero so powerful that he was sealed away out of fear over what destructive potential he could impose onto the universe. Throughout the series, this legendary warrior makes his grand entrance as a titular super boss. Debuting in Superstar Ultra, he is summoned by Nova under Meta Knight's wish to face the greatest warrior in the galaxy. The fight is...
all because Meta Knight wishes to become even stronger.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it was cool for the time, and the challenge level definitely helps it stand out, but nowadays he just comes off as a coward who keeps guarding and standing out of range of your attacks. Doesn't help that he keeps going off screen and sticks his minions after you. It was fine enough as Meta Knight, but fight him as Kirby and the tedium really starts to show. Thankfully, it's still a strong enough debut to assure him a grand legacy going forward. And boy, did his fights get so much better from here.
Oh,
Return
yeah.
to
They just
Dreamland
kept
became his
getting
first
better and
surprise
better and
comeback.
better.
And he comes off as an absolute fast-paced menace. He
Look at
gets up
that.
by slashing and diving at you with his spear, staying swift both on the ground and in the air. Get him to half health, and he starts sending a whole light show after you. Summoning
Oh, I
thunderbolts
love
from the
this.
sky, sword beams that bounce across the battlefield, and his traditional clockwise laser that also spawns a massive shockwave
giant
on the
laser
ground.
console.
Oh, it gets even better in Planet Robobot. Here, Meta Knight, once again, decided to summon him with the aid of another wish-granting piece of machinery. When Galacta comes out, he gets...
Well, actually, a Soul Dream is not made of Nova or from a Nova, but the ship that the Soul Dream takes control of is indeed made from a Nova.
Star Dream a good old slice before taking you on for a third round. His attacks are similar to the
Round
ones in
three.
Return to Dreamland, but get spiced up just enough to make him more challenging. Oh, and he straight up cuts through the fabric of reality to summon a giant laser after you. Suffice to
Space
say,
laser.
Galacta has really done his duty in showing us that the title of most powerful hero is not to be taken for granted. For that will
Damn right.
always bask in his glory, no matter what Butterfly decides to take his body away.
Well, we move from the galactic battlefield to number 5 with...
Kirby has fought all manners of eldritch monsters and world-destroying
Zero.
threats, some of which we may see later
And
along
Dark
the line.
Metal.
Through all of it, it only makes sense that there
Dark
will be
Mind.
someone or something at the top of the food chain. Something big,
here we go.
scary, and eats everything in sight.
That's King Dedede.
Okay, we're talking about Void
Void
Termina. Revered as
Termina.
the Dark Lord of Destruction, it is released from its seal by the maniacal efficient Highness in an effort to bring despair to the universe. This Goliath has huge expectations
Don't forget, Lord Highness also sacrificed both himself and his 3 adopted daughters.
to live up to as the most powerful enemy Kirby has ever fought. And it delivered! Mostly. You kick off the fight in a shooter segment, gunning down Void Termina's weak spots as the beast slams the ground and swings its
Shockwave
elemental
after
arm blades
shockwave
at
after
you. Once you
weapons
wither it
after
down,
weapons.
you enter its body where you break open its heart and free Highness and the Mage Sisters for the Dark Lord's digestive tracts. Enter the second phase. Void Termina takes the form of a soaring avian as it hurls all manner of javelins, arrows,
yes.
and battle axes at you. Ah, there's the Fire Emblem reference we all know and love. And
Meh.
as if that's not enough, it even fires huge rays of lasers at you with a Master Crown.
Wait, what the?
Defeat this phase, and you go to its body
okay.
one more time, where you face Void's true form. So, what does the strongest entity in the Kirby universe look like?
Looks like
I
Kirby.
am a shadow, the true self.
Oh, great. Another you are your worst enemy allegory. Yeah, still better than when Okami did it. As the
Ha.
center of all
Alright,
darkness
I'll give them that.
in the Kirby universe, Void comes packed with the power of various dark matter entities you've seen up to this point. Miracle Matter Spikes, Dark Mind's
Ooh.
Mirrors, Dracia's Bouncing Attack, and so on. In a way, by
It's
adapting
every
the
single
power
soul.
of these various monsters, it really is kind of like Kirby. Of course, between it and Kirby, Void shares one critical weakness. It's a hollow being who feels no love or friendship. As such,
That's
you
right.
can actually hurt it with the friend hearts. It even carries over to the finishing blow, where Kirby decimates it with the support of his allies, literally
Of
killing
every
it with
single
the power
one.
of friendship. And if all that isn't enough, the Soul Melter EX version of the fight is not just harder, it might be the toughest fight in the whole series. The
Damn,
shooter
that
part
looks
is much more
baller.
challenging, with Void Termina's attacks becoming more complex and having a shockwave attached to every impact it makes with its weapons. It went from shooty bang bang to actual 3D bullet hell. And Astral Birth Void, oh man, it doesn't slack off
Whoa,
either.
look
This
at
thing
that
comes with
thing.
screen cleaning attacks and even summons a watery grave to mess with your movement. All the while we get an extremely long and complex boss theme that gradually builds up to a somber tribute to Green Greens, painting what appears to be a melancholic story of an entity who reminisces over a peaceful life similar to Kirby. What tragic fate turned it into this lonesome, chaotic being? We don't...
See, that's the strange thing, though. Void Termina, or whatever Void is, can be born of both evil and good. If it's evil, it becomes a being similar to Kirby. A being of infinite power and possibilities, but with a kind heart to lead its soul. Or it can become a destroyer of worlds, something that only consumes and never rebuilds.
I don't know. What we can do is purify it from its suffering and, perhaps, offer it a chance for a new life. To call this fight a visual and auditory spectacle is an understatement. Void Termina not only gave us an awesome fight, but provided us with a barrel of new questions to what we know about Kirby while still making sense somehow.
Very
that
good.
being said, I know this sounds weird, but I wish this fight had gone harder. The one we get in the main story is portrayed as just another dark entity we gotta fight and kill to save the world. Compared to other Kirby finales, it's pretty bare bones and didn't have enough substance to really give us that emotional impact. Really, they could have leaned even more to the tragic aspect of this boss. Like, for real, think about how beautiful it would be if after Kirby defeats Void the first time, he connects with the reflection of himself within the puddle of colors and starts to also feel melancholy for it, as he realizes the Void deserves to have what he has, but never had the chance.
Damn.
So for an amazing teaser
Josh.
to the post-game, where we finally get to redeem the malevolent deity. Am I asking for too much? I don't know.
No, you are
It's
not.
Kirby. They spoil us so much with all this dark stuff that feels wrong when they don't go hard enough.
Moving on from the chaotic soul, we move to number 4 with Queen Sectus or Sectonius. Damn, what was her name?
Queen Sectonia is a tyrant,
Sectonia,
motivated
thank
by
you.
her extreme vanity and delusions of grandeur. She conquered the kingdom of Feralia and planned to expand her rule into pop star upon finding out that her people sought help from its hero using the Dreamstalk. Despite her ego, she does acknowledge Kirby as a formidable adversary and challenges the Puffball to a duel. Sectonia is an agile sword fighter with a hand in sorcery to boot. She fires what appears to be
Impressive skills
lightning
all
made out of
around.
dark matter from her wands and can transmute minions and giant jewelry from her portals. Towards the end of the fight, she rushes in toward Kirby with a flurry of warping slashes, as well as giant golden rings slicing over the whole screen. After you defeat the first phase,
But hey, all it did with Dedede was kind of just squish him like a big old marshmallow.
Sectonia decides to use the
Which
very
is
thing
good.
that Floralia created to bring Kirby to her against him. Combining with the Dreamstalk, she's set to maul down the entirety of Popstar. Thankfully, with the help of Floralia's people, as well as Dedede, you blast through Sectonia's defenses and reach her at the tippy top of the Dreamstalk. You break through her array of floral swords as you gradually get closer and closer to Sectonia herself. Finally, she surrounds you with
Like
4 of her
pulling you
floral
in,
eyes
really.
and bombards you with all manner of spikes, lightning, and giant lasers. You hear the
So many lasers.
awe-inspiring Moonstruck Blossom play through the fight. It really captures the beauty of Sectonia's form, but perhaps there's more to it than that. For you see, fighting Sectonia in the extra modes of the game reveals a
Here
lot
we
more
go.
of how she came to be. A once good friend to her servant Taranza, who was gifted a dark mirror by him as a sign of friendship. Yes, that dark mirror.
Bingo.
Not knowing the power
The
behind it,
magic mirror.
Taranza accidentally corrupted her. She stares at it for too long and becomes deluded by a twisted perception of beauty, eventually morphing into the form she has today. Soul of Sectonia even demonstrates that the fight is less of a power struggle and more of a cry for help, as Sectonia subconsciously begs for Kirby to end her. Suddenly,
damn.
Moonstruck Blossom
That's
sounds
a little
much more depressing
dull.
in the context of what the fights are actually about. Now, as tragic as the fight is, I'm sure some would find it to be one of the weaker final bosses in the modern titles. Heck, some might say Void should be higher. After all, it's a harder fight with a much more grandiose lore attached to it. And to be fair,
Oh, yeah,
I
very
think
much.
both stories are pretty interesting in their own right, and ordering these two could have gone either way, but ultimately, I'm giving the edge to Sectonia simply because of this. Yeah, Kirby just swallowed a giant laser and spat it back at the final boss until she slowly disintegrated. The big puffball may have a solid track record with beating
Literally went, I'm firing your laser.
evil deities before, but this This is what really made Kirby into the nigh-invincible Doomsday-level entity that we know today. Yes, it's not the hardest fight in the series, but it makes up for it with tremendous scale, presentation, story, and an absolutely spectacular finisher. We may have lost our beautiful insect queen, but we certainly won't forget what she did for the legacy of this franchise, turning Kirby from a simple monster-slaying series to a cavalcade of cute characters with depressing backgrounds. Suddenly it's less pink demon and more pink devil, don't you think?
Well, we move on from the pretty flowering bees to number 3 with...
Okay, so ordering these last 3 was hard. All 3 are practically considered the...
Oh, well, let's see. It looks like, I think we got Magalore with the Master Crown, Star Dream, most likely, when he's fused with the giant Clockvok, and the final one from the latest game. I can't remember. I haven't had a chance to order or play it yet, so I can't really remember.
Untouchable kings of Kirby bosses, and any of them could be number 1 given whoever's ordering it. That all being said, one has to go. Planet Robobot broke a lot of the series' usual conventions, going for a pure sci-fi approach rather than the usual fantasy elements Kirby employs. And when it comes time for the final boss, things get upped big time. After a back-to-back gauntlet of Mecha Knight followed by Haltman, the true mastermind of the game's events gets revealed. Haltman's own supercomputer, Star Dream, goes rogue and announces that it sees all life as futile and inherently chaotic, and so decides to wipe the slate clean.
All must die.
Classic kill all humans, exterminate plot, but this is Kirby, and Star Dream isn't an average supercomputer, no.
Nope.
This thing is a full-scale reality warper, and Kirby fuses his megasuit with the halberd to chase it down. Listing all of Star Dream's attacks, we'd be here all day.
Epic.
It's packing so much firepower, you believe it has no limits. Then it hops onto the Axis arc and becomes planet-sized, and things get even crazier. The music takes on a slow, almost apocalyptic drone, making you feel desperate as you slowly chip away at its armor. Not helped by giving off a strange, almost psychic-sounding scream, and eventually using the Axis Arc's massive spider-like arms against you. The second phase really does show how alien and terrifying Star Dream is as an intelligent AI. But break off the armor and...
there we go.
Oh, crap.
The reveal.
Looks like Nova. Oh, crap, it's Nova! Yeah,
Well, a Nova, not the Nova, I think.
Dream was a clockwork star this entire time, and now you've unmasked it. The metal behemoth now starts fully warping reality, starting a countdown and even attacking you with pieces of the old Nova from Superstar. Let that countdown get to 0, and Star Dream gets hit with a fatal error that ends up sending a near unavoidable shockwave of death toward the entire screen. You have 0 time to mess around. Throw everything you have at Star Dream until finally Kirby launches at Star Dream with a drill to pierce the heavens and goes right through him and just destroying it completely. Oh, you thought we were done? This is a Kirby game. You are done by a long shot. Trekking through the true arena unlocks a true final fight against Star Dream's Soul OS. And right when you think you have it, Star Dream turns the tables on you and inhales Kirby in an ironic twist. Inside, you face its heart, a literal god in the machine. Star Dream protects its heart with several pillars you have to break, and as you do, you hear Hartman screaming in pain.
Oh yeah,
the implication,
he feels it.
Star Dream's soul operating system is running on Haltman's soul as energy. And once you break all pillars and finally destroy the heart itself, you kill Haltman for real. Star Dream's fight is an absolute gauntlet that keeps going and going and going. It pushes you to the absolute limit. It doesn't stop until the rogue AI has been thoroughly and completely blue-screened. If anything's going to turn you off AI as the future of mankind, let an all-powerful god computer be the thing to do it.
Moving on from the supercomputer Witch Grotto to number 2, we have...
Fecto, aka the Great One, is the overarching villain of the Forgotten Land worshipped by the Beast Pack.
Forgotten Land, that was the name of the game. Okay, so it looks like Magalore will be taking the #1 spot then.
Once upon a time, he was one half of the ultimate life form, but was separated from his more compassionate half, Elfilin. The pack's leader, Leongar, seeks to return the deity to its full form by reuniting both halves. But after kicking his majesty's tail in, it turns out he was just Fecta's mind-controlled puppet, and the horrific fetus monster decides, fine, I'll do it myself. And literally devours the beast pack, transforming itself into...
You can't stop me.
Oh my lord.
Numb over how horrifying these bosses can get? Yeah, not really. So yeah, Fecto ate the beast pack to turn itself into an amalgamated that called Fecto Forgo. And your only option is to book it, man! Run for your small pink...
You ain't fighting that, you are running from
like,
that.
Don't look back and shoot it! Shoot it! Shoot it! Fecto Forgo's chase is intense on the first playthrough with how claustrophobic it feels. But you do reach a dead end eventually, and it doesn't actually crush and insta-kill you.
Oh, thank the Lord.
But while we make it out unscathed in the end, Elfilin ain't that lucky as he gets consumed by his other half. And thus, both sides are restored to their former glory. Fecto Elfilis.
And
an
there
angelic
it is.
chinchilla regarded as the ultimate life form. And dang did it earn its title!
Damn
as it
right.
circles the arena
Like, this thing puts even Mewtwo to shame.
menacingly from the skies. It hurls a rain of swords and halberds at you. No. Actual halberds. Additionally, it swoops out to try and take a
Yeah, halberd is a type of spear. It's not just the name of the Meta Knight ship.
slice at you and fires deadly lasers. In its
That's
second
sick.
phase, it takes things up a notch by trying to pulverize you with frickin' meteors, and attempts to heal itself by cloning. It's a perilous duel, but once Fecto's almost spent, you do that.
What?
And then you chase it down as a semi-truck while it tries to hurl Popstar at you.
Oh,
Sheesh, all this
yes!
with the touch blaring in the background. Following that, Elfilin does the heroic, sacrifice, and everything's back to normal. Oh, but yeah, you know this song and dance. There's still the
True,
post-game. And Elfilis wants a second shot at smiting you in its new Chaos mode. Chaos
love
Elfilis
it. Love
is
it.
even more intense since along with its usual tricks, it can turn into a whole spirit bomb. But with the Chaos Beast finally slain, Elfilin is given a chance to reclaim its remnants and merge them back with itself. This time, Elfilin's pure self remains dominant. Overall,
Yes.
facing Fecto in any form was an epic showdown.
Oh, this
From
game
racing
is
for our lives
truly
through a
epic.
cramped corridor, to holding our own in the arena, to pulling an Optimus Prime, to holding on to the arena again. These brawls
Yes.
really showed the scope of how far Kirby can go with a full-on 3D throwdown. And I cannot wait for the next attempt.
Oh yeah, that game is honestly perfect for #2. Honorable mentions. Honorable
Mark's
mentions.
Superstar.
You've already said.
Now that's good
Love it.
sound design. Mass DDD, Superstar Ultra, the one that started
Classic.
the DDD wears an edgy mask trope. Paint Roller, Canvas Curse, blatantly ignoring the double-edged pod. It's a pretty fun minigame. Necrodeus, Max Attack. Rudy the Clown
Ooh,
Skeleton decided
I
to
remember
haunt
this guy.
Kirby this time. Got his OHKO hands and everything. King D-Mind, Team Kirby Clash. The lore implications of this boss are crazy, but what's crazier is him pulling out the freaking halberd. No, I
Wait,
said not
what?
that one. Clanky Woods,
Oh,
Planet
okay.
Robobot. Wispy went metal, literally, and started terraforming the Iron Earth around you. Mage Sisters, Star Allies. They almost got nerfed by their own elements, but they eventually become your new buddies. Forgo
Very
DDD,
friendly.
Forgotten Land. And that's another point in the game of
Ooh.
Kirby Bingo. DDD gets possessed. Morpho Knight,
Yep.
Star Allies, and Forgotten Land. He sniped the battle from the original boss. Twice! Every boss from
Morpho
Rainbow Curse.
Knight.
Okay, look, that battle music has no business going this hard.
That is some good music. It's too good! From the honorable mentions, we move on to #1, who is, of course, Magalore.
All Kirby fans, young and old, Bow, for the coronation ceremony has finally come. We have crowned the #1 Kirby boss as the one true king of all time. All hail
Magalore! Yep.
The final boss of Kirby's Return to Dreamland is legendary for its impact on the community and how it shaped future games' final bosses. Of course, it had to be here. Of course. It's #1. You all know the story by now. At the start of the game, Max crashes his ship onto Dreamland. Its parts scattered all across the planet, and Kirby, being the trusting and caring, jolly pink fellow he is, vows to help Magalore repair his ship and get back home.
We'll get you home.
The name should have been a tip-off, but whatever.
That doesn't set off any red flags?
Land on Halicandra,
no,
and Magalore tasks you now with taking down Landia, the dragon that destroyed his ship in the first place. What Magalore didn't tell you is that Landia attacked the Lore Starcutter in defense, because his true goal was the Master Crown, the artifact atop one of Landia's 4 heads. By defeating Landia, you've done Mag's dirty work for him, and now he's able to use the crown's power to usurp control over the entire universe. Starting with Popstar. Kirby and company chase the false king through another dimension.
Why is it that they always want to take over Popstar?
Atop a split Landia, destroying the Lore Starcutter and confronting Magalore once and for all. And yeah, this battle is iconic for a reason. Magalore sends energy attacks at you, elemental attacks, dark energy thorns, giant freaking laser beams, and the customary black hole that every Kirby final boss seems to love. He doesn't even stop when you deplete his health bar, pulling out a shield that only super abilities are capable of punching through. But even taking an Ultra Sword to the face doesn't end this fight.
More like 1,000 Ultra Swords. You literally use every blade on him.
Because now...
But the crown itself still remains. And it holds what he was.
The Master Crown takes its toll on Magalore, and yeah, I don't even have to describe why this fight is amazing!
No, you don't. Anyway. It's worth
Everything Magalore was doing before, Magalore's soul doubles that, abusing and spamming his lasers and combining them with portals to make dodging even harder. He even pulls out dark mirrors of your own super abilities, and just for kicks, flips the screen upside down. And
I remember that.
After all that, the remake, just for good measure, doubles Magalore's soul's health bar and makes it so now his most powerful attacks just get chained, one after another, bordering on bullet hell. While Dracia Marks came before it, this is the boss that truly solidified soul bosses going forward.
It did.
Magalore's final battle is still an incredibly fun and spectacular fight that holds up over his peers before and after. To this day, he reigns supreme as the best boss in Kirby.
And plus, technically, he's one of the only Kirby bosses that is, well, redeemed after beating him in the main game. Because as you can see right here, he returns to his base form, but the Master Crown just shatters. Magalore is left intact to kind of suffer and pay for the crimes he committed.
I'm the Fiery Joker, and next time on Kirby Month, we'll see the titles of which Kirby and these bosses get to tussle it out.
Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.